Everybody, welcome to today's AdvisorTech demo. We're excited to get started and share what AdvisorStack has to offer. I always know a tech company is good when they misspell a word in their name. That's how you know it's a good company. To get started, I just want to make a couple announcements. So in our community, we have the calendar, and you can see the events we have. We're going to start these AdvisorTech demos more regularly. We have another one scheduled for the 11th. And then along with that, we have our weekly free value call where we just get on, hang out, talk ops. You can switch back and forth here. Then in the classroom, I am building out a AdvisorTech directory. So kind of have all the main categories of softwares, and then under each one, like Wealthbox, we'll have a demo, we'll have some links, and then if there's any posts in the community about that tech, we'll post these below. So if there's any tech you guys are specifically interested in seeing us demo or have any questions about, feel free to let me know. And then the last thing is just using the search bar. So like if you search AdvisorStack, you can see the members that have the word in their name. You can see the classroom where it comes up, and then also in the community anywhere that word is mentioned. So that's a pretty cool way if you're looking for something in the community to check that out. All right, I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to Nico, I believe.
Thank you very much, Joe. Actually, we're going to have it start off with Paul, but let me just get the screen set up. And Paul, you can see my screen, correct?
Yep, we got you.
All right, let's get going on this. All yours.
Hey, Joe, and everybody, thanks for joining us. We'll keep it as brief as possible because we know that it's important. Time is important to all of you. And Joe, we love being a part of your organization now. It's been a home run for us, and I can see it growing significantly over time. But we'll jump right into like why we created AdvisorStack, who we are. That's what I'm going to do. Give you the introduction. I'll turn it over to Nico, who's the president of our company, to do a detailed demo of the platform. We'll get into a deeper dive from our CTO, Tim Gitchell, and talk about how to own your own data. And then last but not least, we'll give you a true life example of one of our clients, Steve Anchorstar, the CEO of Anchorstar Wealth, to talk to you about why he used us, the benefits of using us, and how it can help you grow your practice. So with that being said, here's the quick team. I won't go into detail, but what you will see about our team is I have over 35 years experience in the investment management world. Nico and Adam both have over 10 years experience, not only in the investment world, but in the technology side of it, which is what made us create AdvisorStack. And Tim Gitchell, our CTO down below, has over 30 years of coding experience. Tim's been in the business a long time. He's built many different platforms, and we couldn't be more than happy to have him. Nick on the left-hand side is our CFO, and Nicole is our marketing, our CMO. Go ahead, Nico. Who are we? It comes up all the time, like, why did you create AdvisorStack? And the reason why we did it is we wanted to be different. We wanted to be able to give advisors the tools necessary to actually help them streamline their business. And when you say streamline your business, it's very difficult for an advisor, for instance, to break away from a Merrill Lynch or a Morgan Stanley, open up their own firm, and have all the technology that was easily available to them at the wirehouses. So that's what we truly wanted to give you. We wanted to give you the wirehouse experience for your own individual RIA. And that's exactly what we did. We created a true all-in-one platform that can integrate all of your custodians. We selected vendors that we feel can give you the best access for billing and reporting, for trade management, for CRM, for trading and everything. And also on top of that, did I leave one out, Nico? I always seem to
Risk
forget.
analytics, you're okay.
Risk analytics, yeah. I always forget about Zephyr on the bottom. Yeah, which we will get into detail when Nico shows you the demo. So with that being said, who are we? We're one technology stack. We're one contract. We're one fee, one sign-on, and one point of contact for all of you. And what we do is we basically say, okay, instead of you going out finding 5 or 6 or 7 different vendors that do these different things for you, just hire AdvisorStack. We then have the institutional contracts, which, by the way, will be a lot cheaper than any of the contracts that you're able to obtain, because we go on for an institutional level, and then we come up with one contract for you. So you'll be contracted with AdvisorStack. Once again, it's one fee. Typically, we run a basis point model. The fee is really concise based on your AUM. We have the single sign-on. We stay data and vendor agnostic. We tailor make your dashboard to exactly what you want. And when we say exactly what you want, Nico will show you how cool it is on what we can structure your dashboard and fit the KPIs that you want to wake up to every day. With that being said, we also have an enhanced cybersecurity system through Buckler. We made sure that we went out and got approved that our cybersecurity is connected and secure for all of you and all of your clients. And then last but not least, we're the single point of contact for all of you. So if you have a problem with billing and reporting, you're not dialing an 800 number and you're not trying to fumble through the different screens on your computer to find out who to call. You basically pick up the phone, you call somebody from Nico's team or Nico himself, and boom, you have the solution solved within our instance.
Is right here, guys. And the hardest thing, and everyone's been trying to chase this, is I can't get my data to talk. I can't get my data to minimize data duplication of different households across all of these different platforms. We're the hub. So by us being the hub, you get to basically operate us as the system of truth. Or if you come from an existing platform, let's say a Black Diamond or a Money Guide or a Wealth Box, and you have all of your contact information in there, all of your households, everything along those lines, we can denominate that as the source of truth, extract that information, and then push the creation from our instance so that you guys don't need to manually do this. This is part of our onboarding and implementation to the other respective parties that you're engaged with through AdvisorStack. This really creates that unified household experience. And then whenever all of these systems are connected at that point, this allows us to do, what do you want to see? How do you want your client to be illustrated? Net gains, asset breakdown, realized short-term gain, household lists, their CRM information, all aggregated, opportunities, open task, their models and trading all put together, any of their specific statistics related to that. And then we're also incorporating the financial planning and billing piece at the individual level too. Right now, these are done more so at the dashboard level and then aggregated to there. But ultimately, what is happening, guys, is through that data, through these experiences, through actually truly owning it, you're able to then create what you want to see, bi-directionally push out information, and then build a platform that's for your RIA by the RIA itself. Then you're not stuck to an Orion's integration stance or a pure Black Diamond. Like, this is your operating system where we can act as the hub for all of your main information. Moving into the CRM dashboard, again, you just have the information all put in here. Tim Gitchell, his latest activity. We have a task management system, which is we are working on this right now to integrate full task, where basically the end goal of all of this, guys, is you're going to have the single sign-ons where it's going to take us directly to our Wealth Box instance right here. And then you'll see me just log into the demo instance real quick. But what's going to happen is my goal, guys, is to minimize the need for you ever to go to these other outside applications and truly set your flows, your policies and procedures, your approval stance, all within the AdvisorStack platform. Model and trade management, you'll see you're going to be able to build your own models, be able to actually build this on the trade order management system, and then it comes over to our side. We're working on with another company called QDeck right now, where we're actually going to be able to do the trade blotter from AdvisorStack to be able to be uploaded directly into the custodial files so that all of your trading, all of your rebounds, and all of your recognition is coming from one centralized platform again, rather than you need to go to the actual trade order management system. For the CRM, we actually did just engage with Bento Engine, who actually had a previous demo with you guys last week. They are having real estate with us where we are going to then actually incorporate all of their alerts, all of their tasks within the CRM dashboard and within the unified client experience. But all in all, what is beginning to happen is right now, you'll have the full access, like Paul said, to all the institutional contracts that are getting put together here. The main piece that's going to end up happening is a lot of the work inbound is going to be making sure that we build your spec house properly. It's going to be most important to make sure that your data is sliced out properly. And then we build the platform, like Paul said, specifically for your firm and how you guys want to see it with your operations around it. All of that put in together. I would like to, I know Tim's he's a little bit busy right now, but from a technology infrastructure, everything is on MySQL, and we use React for the front end. That's why we're able to basically quickly change these graphs. And what happened is Tim had the opportunity to work with Pershing. He built the alternatives department in the early 2000s, create all of these unique IDs, and basically our data architectural database is all set up to be unique IDs across your vendors and then to operate as the source of truth. So that basically just means, like Paul was saying, we could be vendor agnostic, and as long as they have the fields to power the UI that we're creating, we can theoretically absorb them and then build them. We are trying to be the front end interface for all advisors to make it simplistic, to make it very easy for their day-to-day business. Paul, I'll pass it over to you before we talk to Steve about his live experience and where he was at and how this is going to benefit his business. Here comes Tim right now, actually.
I think the important message that Nico really conveyed was, listen, you're going to own your data. We're going to own the data and be able to manipulate it whichever way you want. And that's when we started AdvisorStack, we called at least 150 of our top advisors that we worked with in the past and said, what is your major problem? And every single one of them have said, no matter who I use, whether it's Tamarack, InvestNet, Orion, their systems don't talk to one another. I want a system that we can integrate and have all of our data be able to talk to one another in a concise, easy way. And that's really what AdvisorStack is about. It's being able to get your data under one source of truth and be able to integrate it into all these different avenues. So with that, I'll shut up. I'll turn it over to Steve.
We can pass it to Tim actually now, since he's all situated. So Tim, if I gave the brief introduction, obviously, of everything that we were doing on your side, I'd love for you to, introduce yourself, explain how you set up the architectural database, and ultimately what this is going to allow us to do longer term.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Thanks. My background, I've been in technology in various capacities for quite a while, and in development specifically for almost 30 years. As Paul mentioned, the last maybe 15, 16 years or so have been specifically in financial services. A lot of that was in the alternative investment vertical. I worked for a small company that did an accounting solution for fund of hedge funds and for hedge funds, and that product was purchased by the Bank of New York Mellon. And as part of that transaction, I moved over and worked for BNYM for almost 10 years in their alternative investment services division. And by the time I left there, I was the principal .NET architect for that division. And I got recruited back to a startup that in the risk analytics area, and have been doing some consulting and things, and did some work with Nico, and came on board with AdvisorStack in December of last year. So we've been building this for a little while now. He always likes to focus on the technology, and he seems to be very excited and impressed about the technology. Technology is really cool, doesn't impress me as much as some of the things that Nico and his team brings to the table in terms of the one contract and the one onboarding team, and all those things I think are really can't be stated enough. But once all that's there, we were able to connect to all these systems. So we bring the data into our central repository, and we've been very strategic about the technologies that we've chosen. And for our database, we chose a product called Single Store, and it its name kind of conveys a little bit of it, but basically we're able to do all the different types of work that you need to do with your data against a single engine and a single store of the data versus having to move the data around to different, whether it be an analytic system, whether it be a vector-based system for a large language model, various different things for streaming or for caching. You can literally do it all in one place, which has several benefits. One is the simplicity of that approach. And two is we do not move the data to these different systems and therefore expose it to additional threat vectors, and the complexity just breeds holes that can be exploited by bad actors. So that's a really important piece. And also, when we have the data, it doesn't matter whether the data came from an external partner or whether it was entered directly into our system. Once we have it, then we're able to utilize our tools to map that data to the other systems that we support, and we can create a hub and spoke kind of system where data can flow in from any source and then flow out to all other sources and stay in sync and give a much better user experience where you're not having to do a duplicate entry of data and you're not having to deal with different nomenclatures from one system to the other. You can do the bulk of your work and your interaction, your daily activities within the unified system, and all that data that's being pushed out to these external systems. So if they have specialized functionality or some deeper functionality that you need to do a single sign-on to get to, you can do that, and it's all there. But you can do a lot of your interactions and reporting and generation of client interactions from that central system. So that's the goal, and that's what we're achieving.
I always love whenever you I always compliment you on everything that you've built, but then you always say it can't be possible without everything that we do on our side too. So it's definitely the mix and match of both worlds, guys. I mean, the biggest thing is I want to be, like Tim stated, we want to be a part of your firm. We want to understand you guys and give you guys the access to that tool. So that being said, I'd like to introduce you guys to Steve Ankerstar of Ankerstar Wealth. Steve is actually one of our clients, been with us for a period of time now, and I wanted to basically talk about where Steve was at, why he saw AdvisorStack as a good solution, and ultimately how this is going to benefit his clients and moving forward to that too. And Steve, I have the client portal version put up too, if we want to talk about that entire instance. Floor is yours though to, kind of get this started.
Yeah, you bet, guys. Thanks for having me on. And for all the listeners out there, I'll tell you my unique story. Feel free to ask questions at the end if there's something I don't cover. But when I came across AdvisorStack, it was the solution that I needed. I just didn't know it existed. So I'll tell my story of I started as an independent, so it was just me, solopreneur. But what's different from my case was instead of spinning off from somebody, I started from scratch. So kind of did it the hard way, but by doing that, the pain points that you face when you're out there on your own on an island and building things is you come into a problem, you look for a solution. So I need a financial planning software. Google it, a little 5 seconds of due diligence, Money Guide Pro looks good. I sign some contract, and then boom, I have it. And by doing that and going fast, and then it's like, well, I need this portfolio analysis software. Found it, buy it, go fast, right? And just keep growing and growing and growing. And while I was meeting my business goals by growing out, clients and AUM and eventually hiring some advisors, what I ended up with is what I call the garage, of good ideas, right? So my tech stack was pretty awesome individually, but it was really the first thing I grabbed that would work when plug and play. So, when you backed off, which you kind of never do as a solopreneur, you never really take a step back and look at what you built. It was not talking to each other. And if I had to make it talk to each other myself, that's time that I'm not out building AUM, right? So all of that is what my problem was. And then when I talked to Paul, he says, hey, I have this software that does this for you and a team of superstars that can integrate everything. And it's going to, clean up my tech stack and maybe replace some of the items that I had. So that's that was one. Two, my data is going to talk to each other. So I don't have to worry about, okay, somebody brings in an account and I have to change it in 4 places or make sure it's talking to each other in 4 different places. Another place that helps me is that for billing, when you're writing 2 or 3 checks, that's one thing. But as you grow out, years in and you're writing, 15 checks a month, and you kind of lose track of where you're going, where they're going to. I'm not doing that anymore. It's like I pay AdvisorStack, they take care of taking care of the bills. And the other advantage of that being smaller, I'm at 60 some AUM, is I can't really pick up the phone and get anybody to cut me a deal from any of the big players, right? Because I'm a small firm. Well, so I'm generally paying up for some enterprise function that I don't use, a lot of it, but that's their min cost, right? So I'm paying up. So it's actually saving me money as a smaller firm going through AdvisorStack. So it's been a great transition. I've been very pleased. And the thing I'll close with, and again, if you want specifics, asking the questions, is AdvisorStack also is on the cutting edge. We talked about the Bento folks and the Q deck, and there's a Q advisor piece out there that incorporates some AI. So I know that the tech side, my outsourced CTO from my company, if you will, this relationship is out there looking for the next greatest things that I don't have time to sit back and look for. So they're bringing out the new ideas. They're asking me, tailoring, is this something you want? Is it something you not want? How do you want it? Adding it to the overall stack. And then I can turn to my advisors saying, hey, we have this new piece that we're offering now, and just couldn't be happier with how things are going.
Really
Steve,
appreciate all. Yeah, go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
that was great. I just have one follow-up question because I wanted to see how my team did. How was the onboarding and the implementation?
It was very, I wouldn't say easy, because it's not easy. It was very efficient, if you will. So I was able to have a person on my team that was dedicated to the task, working directly with Nico. And you're right. Normally you have a problem with Money Guide Pro, you go off into some, pick up a ticket, and you might hear back by email 3 days later that we are now looking at it, that sort of thing. But being able to have my team member work directly with Nico, problems were getting solved just as fast as we could come across. So really very happy with it.
Awesome.
The biggest thing I can say too is, and it's a pretty big day for you guys too, Steve, is you're starting the release of your guys' client portal at this point. And I know we've been focusing primarily get all of your data reconciled and everything on there. Do you want to talk about, I can show the client portal real quick and then just kind of explain that. And you want to talk about how it's going to benefit your business moving forward?
Yeah, if you would, there's two sides to that question, right? There's the servicing the client, the core of the mission. So when you look at this, this is Mr. and Mrs. example, Matt and Kelly. You can see from the client portal here, it has all their information, all their accounts pulled up. And there's also, and has my team there. You can see the professionals that work with me and our contact information. So you immediately, if they have questions, they can reach out. When you get to, it shows their overall net worth where they can add outside accounts, that sort of thing. This is probably the number one. And not only on the desktop, but also on the app version that I really love, is you have everything at your disposal. I happen to use, the performance and gain loss is not accurate, right? Because it's a fake account, but normally it would be, but I use RiskWise. It has your risk score right there. And then Money Guide Pro for their financial plan also populates here. So it's really pretty, it's full service at putting what we call the information in the client's fingertips. So, sitting there waiting for a meeting or taking their bus to and from, work or whatever it happens to be, they can pull it up on the app. Click on it. Does take a second for Money Guide.
It's a demo instance for it to load, but it's what it's going to do,
okay.
Guys. It's going to give you that simplified Money Guide look. Here we go, right there. See,
yeah, there you go. So, they've got where they are and what we've recommended and kind of the steps to get there. Again, the app version, the black diamond here, you just click on it and it shows, as you go down the different goals that they have and how that's playing out all the way down to Social Security claiming strategy down at the bottom. So, I found that the traditional financial plan, which, we do for clients and we print it out in 140 pages and here you go, client, this is fantastic. And then I turn to like 5 pages within that and say, here's really what you need to know. Well, this gets rid of the big printed out financial plan and puts those 5 pages into the client's fingertips. So it's not when they meet with Steve, once a quarter or once every 6 months. It's whenever they're thinking about it. They can go right to the app or to the desktop version, look at it, think if they have a question on it, and then reach out for us to answer that question.
Yeah. And then the vault piece of it too, obviously we're working on this now too, but this is where they're going to be able to securely send documents to you and you're going to be able to send documents directly to them. And then we're working on incorporating any of the statements from Charles Schwab, from TD Ameritrade to be automatically uploaded into this as well. And then the last piece of it is if basically any of the batch reports that you wanted run from our system, we can have automatically deposited within that vault as well. So like Steve is saying, it's becoming the hub for his clients to basically go onto one unified client portal through an app or through the actual or through a URL and see everything that they need to see. And you're basically, what you're doing is you're making a consistent stance of this is where you guys go. And this is how you can do a lot of your reviews as well. So Steve, I'm really excited to see kind of the input from what your clients state and what their views and opinions are going to be after that too. So
yeah, you bet. And that's only the first half. If I could just for a second there, Nico, that's servicing the client, which is the primary mission. But also with the mission of growth and adding AUM, you also need to add advisors. And when the advisors, I have 3 other advisors right now. Hoping to have a 4th today. She's out taking her Series 65 literally as we speak. In training up a new advisor to do it correctly, you want to spend tons of time and walk through everything at once. Well, that's theory. Reality is time gets in the way, and we really need them out there, building their own books of business as well. So what AdvisorStack does is it allows all this technology to go into one spot. And the analogy I've used with my folks is, don't feel like you need to know everything about how each piece of software works or how it integrates. It's like the back office is going to set this up. This is what your client's going to be able to see. And the analogy I use, I fly jets, it's like, the important part of flying is making sure that you can go fast and not hit something. And, if you're going into a target, hit the target, that sort of thing, not necessarily all the screens that are available and knowing everything about everything that's going on, right? That, you do it for 10 years, you'll know all that stuff. But on day one, just enough to be able to go, okay, if a client asks a question, I can answer the question. But then it allows the client to get out there, build their business, and then just learn that stuff along the way. So it's kind of a perfect setup for training advisors as well.
I think that's the most beneficial thing too, is and you hit the hammer on the nail, the new age advisor. I mean, I was a younger advisor. I ran my own book at Charles Schwab and TD Ameritrade. We're looking for technology infrastructure to be able to run our business through and through. It's just the ultimate truth. The more that I'm able to do from a technology and be able to actually automate procedures, talk to my clients, have high frequency engagements and things along those lines, like that is what's going to really attract the younger advisor. And through this transition over the next 5 to 10 years of these books, that's what's really going to ultimately help increase the resale value of these books, is if they're fully integrated with all of these technology stacks. Makes it a lot more of a seamless transition for both sides of this. So I do have a couple of questions. I saw the one was answered by Courtney. Courtney, no problem. We do have a direct engagement with Wealthbox through AdvisorStack. All of our fees also incorporate all of the user fees and user licenses that you would have through Wealthbox as well. Adam stated, what does AdvisorStack cost and why wouldn't I just go direct to these companies? We do charge a basis point format for our blue box solution. Now, how this works, if you do not include the trade-in piece of this, it's roughly between 5 to 7 basis points. That's going to include all of your infrastructure, CRM, billing and reporting, your financial planning, and then your risk analytics, and then also the trade blotter and the Bento engine piece that we're doing. So we're giving you more robust tools than just your standard engagements that you would have with these companies. Flip side for Steve, kind of what I would like to talk about this whenever you say that, Steve, you got money back from these institutional contracts when it was all said and done, correct?
And I did, and that's an important thing to understand, is just the due to scale, I have to buy the big contract where, I don't need the big contract, right? So that's where you use, AdvisorStack with having multiple contracts, you can go actually negotiate the right fee of service there. So it really is better to write the one check to AdvisorStack and then let them sort it out on the back end on who's getting what and how it all works out, right?
You got it. Yep, that's kind of how I look at it too. Any other questions and answers before I pass it over to Paul just to wrap it up and do any final remarks? Give everyone a second.
Actually,
Oh yeah, go ahead,
actually,
Steve.
let me clarify that last answer, because I didn't talk to that specific what you were asking. So if you're an advisor out there, let's say you just signed a contract or multi-year contract with Money Guide Pro, I'll use that for an example, which I had, right? They're all on different schedules and things. So if you choose to sign on with AdvisorStack, they are now crediting you back for that unused portion as the license, or however whatever the specifics are, transfers from what you had already paid for to now onto their book. So yes, that was the money back piece that I was getting. So don't worry that you've already paid for tech out through 2-3 years. Don't wait to sign on, that sort of thing, or don't factor that into the calculation of whether or not to sign on, because you are going to recoup that money and then press on with the AdvisorStack billing schedule from there.
And the transition of it too, with us having the institutional contract, basically all we needed to do for Steve's Money Guide instance was get his data over to my instance of Money Guide at that point, just after we were doing that. And then we were able to reconcile it at the unified household screen to be able to show the financial planning piece, the probability of success, all that type of information basically at the client portal and from there. So yes, Steve, thanks for justifying that too. Paul, I think
you guys did a great job. We won't keep you any longer. Once again, if you need to find us, Joe has all of our contact information. We do have a website, www.advisorstackwithaz.com, and we can be reached anytime. So if you want to set up a demo, it's easy to set up the demos. It's easy to get into contact with myself or Nico. And Joe, any closing marks on your side? We are finished over here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks you guys for coming. There's the
I got
argument.
one more question popped up while we were doing it. Courtney asked, do you still have full access to those companies if you go through AdvisorStack versus direct contract? Yes, Courtney, that is the answer. So like Steve, I'm sorry, like Tim was saying at the beginning, we still have the full SSO capabilities within the platform. So basically you would be able to log on to AdvisorStack and then go directly to your WealthBox license. And we can even do deep embedments. So whenever you're on XYZ, let's use Joe Moss, for example, him as the client, you can click on his link and it would take you right to his WealthBox contact information if we need to do additional info on that. Goal is to centralize all of that within our platform. But again, we're not going to be able to do everything. Our goal is to get 80% of it. The other 20%, you have the full platform at your disposal to do whatever is needed.
Yeah, and I can piggyback there. So with several of our vendors that have chat functions or troubleshooting functions, where that something's a little bit off and you just have a question or you don't know how to do something, you still have those open lines of communication to be able to get, service there to help you through it.
Yep. Perfect. Thanks, Courtney. Any other questions? Sorry about that, Joe. I just
no problem.
We'll give it one more second. But yep, guys, again, like Paul said, our website, www.advisorstack.com with a Z, miss important on that part, like Joe said. You could be a true advisor with a Z rather than an S. And then guys, if you need my direct email, it's nico@advisorstack.com. Feel free to message me through the school app, or if you wanted to email me directly, either way, I will make sure that all corresponds is done. But Joe, I'll pass it back to you for closing remarks.
All right, yeah, I was saying there's like the argument about best in class versus all in one. And I think what you guys have created is kind of a merge of those two, where you can have all your data in one place and yet still use best in class tools. So that's pretty cool. But for that, thanks everybody for coming. Hope you have a great weekend and talk to y'all later.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. See y'all.